And welcome to the 11th hour of Open Your Hearts and Wallets for Blood Cancers, a 12-hour fundraiser. I'm Dorothy Odell and your live stream host for the next hour. My connection with cancer is I lost my dad to lung and liver cancer in September of last year. And that journey, was not one that I really had wanted or intended, but it was given to us. So it was a rough road. My dad from diagnosis to death was about 2.5 years. So I definitely know what it's like to be a caregiver for somebody who is struggling with cancer. This event runs until 8 p.m. tonight. It is part of the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society Man and Woman of the Year program. If you would like to donate, you can also go do that by going to the link in the ticker, or I did put it in the comments. Or if you don't not feel comfortable donating online, you can definitely make a check out to LLS and mail it to Tim Sohn at 120 Cara Lane, Shinola, Pennsylvania 18458. We so appreciate all your donations, and every dollar counts to change lives. Over these 12 hours, there'll be live streaming shows going on with cancer survivors and supporters, sharing their stories, musicians and entertainers performing, and more. You can go to the same link in order to find out where the current live stream showing is going to be, and we will update that link on that page throughout the next 12 hours. And let us know where you're tuning in from. If you can let us know in the comments, where around the globe that you're coming in from. We so appreciate you showing up today. Tim Sohn is dedicated or decided to be the candidate of the Man and Woman of the Year because he was diagnosed with chronic leukemia 15 years ago. Tim started sharing his cancer journey in June of last year on the Jenny Gold Show. Shout out to Jenny Gold. And many places since then, including my show. Tim found out in December that he's cancer-free and launched the show, showing up perspectives on cancer. Just a few months ago, they were in. Actually, he did that just a few months ago, and inviting cancer survivors and supporters to share their stories and connect and support each other. He is fine now, and he is on fire to do more and to help other cancer survivors and supporters. So that's why we're all here today, to show up, to change lives. Tim is now cancer-free, but that could change in a heartbeat. And so many are not cancer-free and are struggling right now as we speak. Each person's story is different, and each person is impacted in different ways, as Tim has discovered on showing up. All the good news is that LLS is currently working hard to make a difference. With that, I'm going to bring to the stage my new friend, Chuck Atkin. Chuck, how are you this evening?
Good. How are you? Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. And, I just really have to say, I met with Chuck briefly just to get a little bit of sense of who he is and a little bit of a story. And it feels like we're kind of friends already. And that's just who Chuck is. He's got a big presence on Facebook. If you ever want to check any of him out, he's definitely over there. And he shows up and he shares a story. So with that, Chuck, I'm just going to ask you to share a little bit about your story.
Yeah, sure. So my journey started back in 2019. And I call it a journey because it's exactly what it is. Every day is different. Every hour is different for the most part. But I had back in, July, August of 2019, started not feeling so great. Developed a cough, which you'll probably hear tonight at some point. And just all the stuff, really general weakness, and lost a lot of weight. I mean, in total, I lost about 160 pounds. And I'm a big guy. I'm 6'4". I'm 300 pounds. So I'm a big dude. But to lose all that weight and not really try, I was a little concerned. But it was actually typical man. Didn't go to the doctor. Didn't want to deal with that. So it wasn't until November. I went with some friends to a football game in Buffalo, New York. I'm a big Denver Broncos fan, so we drove to Buffalo so I could watch the Broncos get beat. And but while I was there, I got really, really weak, and it was kind of like walking up the ramp to get back to the main concourse. There were a couple of times I actually had to sit down and just take a break because I felt really ill. And I mean, this whole illness thing had been going on. Walking up the stairs from my apartment, I'd have to go vomit to not be graphic, but and this was just going on and on and on. So I decided the next day I would go to urgent care, thinking, oh, I've got a 5-month flu or something, typical man thought. And went in, they did blood work, and the doctor came in. His face was white, super white when he came in, and pretty much my white blood cell count was at 0, which is like totally unheard of for the most part. He's like, how did you get here? And I explained, oh, I drove and this. He says, well, you're going to the hospital. So that moment, they called the ambulance. I went to the hospital. They thought I was having an internal bleed of some sort. So I was admitted. I had 2 or 3 units of blood that night. No blood or no bleed, but my white cell count was still negative. So the next day they ordered a biopsy, bone marrow biopsy. And if you've never had a bone marrow biopsy, you're missing a good time. And I'm being very facetious when I say that because it sucks. But a few hours later, the doctor came in, and I will never forget this as long as I live. The oncologist came in to the hospital I was in and said, oh, you have a real basic kind of cancer. It's the exact terminology he used. Now, for me, having just been told I've got cancer, what's basic about it? So I asked him that question. He said, oh, it's basic because we'll be able to treat you outpatient with a pill and blah, blah, blah. Well, then about 3 hours later, he came in and his face was white, much like the first doctor's. And he's like, well, no, we've got to get you out of here and into a hospital that can treat you. You've got a very aggressive form of acute myeloid leukemia. And so AML entered my life. And that next day, I was shipped to Albany Medical Center in Albany, New York, where I moved into the hospital for 4 months. I lived there for 4 months for treatment. This was on the cusp of COVID taking off. So as I basically, when I got there, the doctors, the oncologists said, the only way you survive this is with a transplant. And I'm a guy going on almost 50 at that time. And so to first of all be diagnosed with AML at that age is really kind of rare because usually it's younger folks. Younger folks or super older folks that get it. Just,
Right.
So
I'm
it
just
was
going to
rough.
go to the I'm just going to go to the comments for 1 second. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. I just want to say hi to our good friend Tim Sohn, who is joining us. Inker, welcome. Bill Bradford, welcome. And tuning in. Jim is tuning in from the middle of freaking nowhere, is what he said.
The boonies.
Shinola in the middle of nowhere. He is dedicated, that is for sure. Welcome, Alexandria. She's on vacation and joining us, so that's how much of a supporter she is. Welcome. Awesome. Thank you so much, Mark Lee. We're all on fire here. Tim says, hi, Jack. Thanks for being part of the event today. Alex loves your cancer slaying shirt.
Thank you.
He was just talking that he gets shirts from all over. People send him shirts. Instead of the bounty hunter, we have the cancer slayer.
Right.
So just as a reminder of why we are here, folks, this is the 12-hour fundraiser for LLS. We are here to raise money. Please click on the link in the comments here that Tim has, or if you're uncomfortable doing it online, I mean, it is totally safe and secure, but if you feel comfortable writing a check, then send it to LLS sign it to LLS and send it to Tim so that it goes towards our $50,000. And I just have a plea out there for the companies that are watching, because I know that there is people out there that have corporations and that support cancer and support LLS. And I'm just asking you guys, we're a little bit behind where we thought we would be. So it would make a massive impact to help these cancer patients that need that funding to get the medicine that they need to survive cancer, and part of the clinical trials, and that those clinical trials, that information is just not for LLS. It is spread out to different kinds of cancers like blood cancer, colon cancer, things like that. So every dollar counts towards that, folks, and I can't stress that enough. So if you could donate, please donate. Yeah, he doesn't miss the bone marrow. Um, oh my goodness, basic leukemia. What kind of leukemia did you have? I
Well,
had chronic.
I have a acute myeloid leukemia. We actually just celebrated World Acute Myeloid Leukemia Awareness Day yesterday. I say celebrated, that's kind of weird. But yeah. So I have acute myeloid leukemia, and among all the other fun things that come with it. But yeah, that's what's going on.
When I hear the word acute, because usually I hear like a cute, like a cutie. Like I don't understand why they call it acute. Like in the 3 years that I've been with this, I don't understand that.
Right. So acute is something actually looked that up myself. And acute, the way I kind of explain it is like a wildfire. It just comes in quick without explanation and just starts doing its thing, you know. So
Yeah. And there's nothing cute about it.
No.
So please donate today, folks. If you could go to this link right here and donate today, we would greatly appreciate it. Or write a check out to LLS and send it to Tim. It would be greatly appreciated. Absolutely. So what was it like when you were first diagnosed, when you heard those words, I have cancer?
Yeah, so it was hard because my mom passed away from cancer. She had laryngeal, esophageal cancer, and so she had it throughout her whole entire body. But so I had just a few years prior, we buried her, and so it was something I never really thought, typical. It's not going to ever happen to me. But then when they come in and tell you, it's really a big kind of screech to everything, a halting screech to everything you're doing. I own a entertainment and DJ business, where I up until I got sick, I would travel all over and entertain business functions, things like that. I would also get booked to MC events and things like that. But all that had to come to a stop because when you're sick, like I was, and continuing to have to do things, like I said, I was hospitalized for 4 months straight. And then once a month up until my transplant, when they finally found a donor for me, was admitted in the hospital for heavy duty chemo as well. And then the whole transplant story is a whole different ball game where you actually, head out. I went to Sloan Kettering. I still go to Sloan Kettering in New York City, which is one of the most amazing places in the world. And that's where I did my transplant. Of course, while you're doing your transplant, you're in the hospital for a good 3 to 4 months. And then afterward, because I'm more than 3 hours away from the city, I had to actually live in the city in one of the Sloan Kettering owned apartments. And I was there for another 3.5 months, and with a caretaker, mind you. Now, this is a person that, God bless her, she came and lived right there in the city with me. Came from all the way from Colorado to do that, and she worked right from the home, right from the apartment and stuff. But yeah, so it's certainly an eye opener. There's so many changes to life that happens when you're told you have cancer. And it's not like you. It's not like you were told. I was told I won the lottery or anything, because that's life-changing too. But
Right.
hey, Steve.
Steve says that he's a 35-year survivor of AML, so he's cheering you on.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Shout out to Memorial Sloan Kettering
Yes.
Cancer Center. Mark says, as a fellow MC, hope you're still doing that and other entertainment work.
I'm doing a little bit at a time. I actually just did a big Dancing with the Stars show not too long ago, and
Really?
I was the MC for that. And so we've got some other things coming up, but I'm actually doing a Special Olympics event next week down near the city. So I'm looking forward to that as well. So as things come up and I'm feeling okay, I can do them. But yeah, so it's definitely been a life change.
Right. And would you say that you've had like a lot of supportive people around you to help you through your journey?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the first things that happened when I was admitted to hospital was a group of friends of mine came together and formed what was called Team Chuck. And that's what's on Facebook. You can find Team Chuck on Facebook. Literally over, thousands of people that I don't even know that became part of the team that are very supportive, that are amazingly supportive, fundraising, things like that. And it's all, it's getting sick is expensive. I had the opportunity to speak at a conference a couple of months ago down in Orlando, and the title of my speech was "Leaving It All to Become a Full-Time Professional Patient." And that's what you become when you get cancer. Is you become a professional patient, and there's not a lot of money in it, but you have to put out a lot. So so I'm thankful for the people that have donated and helped. I'm thankful for the LLS. They've helped me out tremendously with travel expenses and medication expenses and just anything you could think of, hotels, flights, everything. So this is a great thing. It's very near and dear to my heart.
And folks, that's why we're here, right? Because we're in the middle of doing, well, almost to the end of doing a 12-hour fundraiser. This time we did a 24-hour fundraiser back in March, but we're here. And you just heard from Chuck himself that the LLS has helped him, with his finances and things like that. So it's not one of those organizations that are just going to take the money and run. They actually help their cancer patients. And Chuck just said, that they have definitely helped them. So please go to the button right now and click on donate and donate today if you can. No amount is too big, no amount is too small. If we have, like I said, corporations or big companies here that could donate $25,000, $5,000, $10,000, $50,000 to help get to our goal of $40,000 by the end of 8 p.m. today, that would be amazing. Or write a check out to LLS and send it to Tim at 120 Carroll Lane, Shinola, Pennsylvania. Sorry, I just figured that was a natural plug. You would led me right into it.
Well, a lot of people, they think, oh, it's a fundraiser. The money doesn't go where they say it's going to go. This money through the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society goes where they say they're going to put it. There's so many different things that people who are dealing with any kind of leukemia or lymphoma can apply for, whether it be money for going to these testings or money even for a gas, or travel and stuff. There's always money available, and it's really an amazing organization. So it's great. It's really great.
That's right. And I mean, and every little bit helps, or every big amount helps. And it's just so the reason I'll back it up a little bit, I met Tim because I took one of Tim's courses, and I found out through the course that he had no, I found out afterwards he had cancer. So being part of his course, it's like Tim and I had become friends. And when my dad passed away, he actually helped me stream my dad's service to my aunt who's in Hong Kong, my dad's last remaining sibling. I was going to say relative, but not relative. My dad has cousins that are still alive, but immediate family, let's just say his last immediate family lives far away. So, when Tim said, I want to run for Man of the Year, I'm like, okay, let's do this. And So here we are, crazy people that we are, taking on this challenge. But what's so great about it is we meet amazing people like you, Chuck, that have the story, that are out here sharing their story so that they can help others. And so what would you say has been the biggest thing since you've been sharing your story that has
Sure.
helped you get through everything?
So, well, I want to kind of just reverse a little bit here, going back to my transplant. That's a whole other ball game. BeTheMatch.com, who was integral in finding me a donor, and my donor, who I've been talking to quite often, is a beautiful young lady. She's 25. She's an RN nurse, or an ER nurse in Arkansas. Her name is Elizabeth Baker. She's absolutely amazing. And for a young kid to decide, I want to help change somebody's life, she sure did. My body's rejecting. I'm in kind of rejection with this. My body's rejecting the transplant and stuff, but I'm someplace where I wouldn't have been if I didn't have that transplant right now. So, but it's certainly been a life change for me to be able to help people, to be able to talk to people, and I get that opportunity quite often. It's amazing, even if it's a caretaker or a parent or folks that were in the apartment when I lived in the same apartment. Some of them have fought their battles and have passed away, and it's sad to me, but it's also encouraging to me to be able to still talk to those families and see how they're doing and stuff. And they in turn check on me. People check in on me all the time. It's great. So it's an amazing thing.
Absolutely. And when I found, when we were going through my dad's cancer journey, at the beginning it was like just basically family, like and stuff like that. But then as we um got more towards the end, it was like family members that I really didn't think that, I'm not going to say that didn't care, but family members that were kind of like at a distance came and helped us. Like it's, it's been 7 months, and I can honestly say that our family has gotten a lot closer. And
Sure.
without my dad getting sick, I don't know if that would have happened. But I mean, I'm not gonna say yes, no, whatever. But you're right. When you're going through this, and I will admit, there are some people though that will not come around. You're going to lose some friends, and you're going to gain some friends that you never really thought possible.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that happened to me. I mean, there were people that I thought were close friends, and as soon as I got sick and diagnosed, I've not heard hide or hair of them. And then there's people that have come out of the woodwork and just became angels for me. And so it's certainly an amazing journey, to say the least.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Folks, if you're just tuning in now, we are on the 11th hour of our 12-hour fundraiser for LLS. Tim Sohn has decided to go for Man of the Year. So if you could please donate today to help our team raise the $40,000 that we would love to raise to help cancer patients like Chuck, who is going through his battle, that is there and needs our help. And like he had said before, LLS has definitely been there through all of this for him, has helped him, when, because he says, cancer is not cheap. And when you're going through cancer and you're going through treatments, it's just, basically you have to give up your life to be a full-time patient, like Chuck had said. So with the money is the raised, that's what this money is going to help. So please donate today if you can. And I just want to give a shout out to the aging enthusiast, Christine Smith. Christine has been a kick-ass person all day long. She has been on every single hour. So I just want to give a shout out to Christine and say thank you for being our huge supporter today. And Elton and Tim saying, woohoo. Elton, I'm not sure what this is about. Okay, to life is nothing. Go from 0 to finish 100 year. Okay, I'm not sure that. But thank you for joining us, Elton. and being here to support us. So what would you say has been the biggest challenge through all of this for you, Chuck?
Yeah, so I would definitely have to say going from kind of what Elton just said, going from 100 miles an hour to zero, in what I was doing, having working 60 to 80 hours a week to not working at all has been kind of a big thing. And just pretty much curtailing your life to, well, is that if you go out, is it going to make you sick, or how are you going to feel afterwards, and this, that, or the other thing. And so that's kind of been the big thing. On the positive side, it really has opened doors to other areas of life where like I said, I've been able to chat with people, talk to groups and organizations about cancer and about, what we deal with. And, a lot of people, it's not all doom and gloom fighting cancer. It sucks, but there's good days, there's great days, and some days aren't that fun. But there's always a different light at the end of the tunnel. One of the sayings I have that I end a lot of my things with is, no matter what, we just have to keep on keeping on, and just keep trudging forward. And that's kind of been my mantra for the last almost 3 years.
Right. And we're so grateful that you did, because here you are today sharing your story of hope. And that's basically what it is, right? It is definitely a story of hope, because if you can do it, anybody can do it. And, that's why we're here today. Sorry, I'm trying to get technology is great when it works. And when it doesn't work, it's like not great. Sorry. And that's why we're here today, right? We're here to raise awareness. We're here to raise money. We're here to help people like yourself that, that need the help, that need the financial stability to get them through to the next step. Because while
Right.
you're, just given a diagnosis of, hey, I just got diagnosed with cancer, the last thing you want is the money part, right? And we were blessed. We didn't have to, everything was covered for my dad, thank goodness. But some people aren't. And to donate, simply go here right now and donate if you can. We would greatly appreciate it. Love all your support. Sorry. I love technology. Oh, Lord have mercy. Anyways, all right. Sorry. So share a little bit more about your journey. Well, I helped Stephanie get into here. Sorry.
Yeah. So in July of 2020, I had, on actually July 2nd of 2020, I had my rebirth of stem cells from my donor, Elizabeth Baker. And it was, a lot of people don't realize, for me with the stem cell transplant, it changed everything. It changed my blood type. It changed my DNA makeup. A lot of people joke, oh, you've got girl DNA in you now. And yeah, I do. So I haven't experienced any hot flashes or anything yet. So that's a good thing. But from there, you just move forward. And in 2 weeks, I'll be back at Sloan Kettering. I'll have a 2-year bone marrow biopsy, and we'll see where I am with that. And, it's basically a journey every day. It's something different. So.
Well, and, I can't believe somebody would say that. Like, because some people are so rude. And, like, why would you say that to somebody who, that was to save your life? And who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares, as long as it helps you and gets you to stay alive, which is the main
Exactly.
thing
And
of
it's
what we're
cool
here.
too, because not only did Elizabeth help me, but I also gained a family, with her mom and her family. They've all kind of adopted me as their son. And and stuff. And so it's cool. I've got family in Arkansas, so it's really neat.
Christine saying that she's just so grateful that you can testify to LLS being unstoppable in providing real support. Absolutely.
Right. They sure are. They absolutely are. Thank you so much, Christine.
Yeah, that's awesome. Absolutely. And, we're glad that you're here. And we are so glad you're here. And if you can, here is the link to donate again. If you could, or if you feel more comfortable sending a check, write it out to LLS and mail it to Tim Sean at 120 Care Lane, Shinola, Pennsylvania. Sorry, folks. I'm a little bit distracted because our next guest is having problems getting in the green room. Tim's helping. We're behind the scenes. This is what live streaming is all about, friends. And this is why I ask people to come in a little bit earlier, and she is a little bit early, so that's good. So sorry, I'm just seeing if you have any questions for Chuck, please let us know. And definitely Christine's talking to Steve here in the comments, so that's great. What would you say is your next steps?
So for me, my next step, I do treatment twice a week, along with all the other doctors. A lot of people think with chemo and everything, that's just it. It just deals with cancer, but chemo causes other things too. I've had to have my gallbladder removed. I've had nose surgery because they found tumors in my nose. I deal with a new cardiac doctor. I deal with a thyroid doctor. All these different doctors now as a result. I was never, ever sick before I got diagnosed with leukemia. And never really. When I was a kid, I think I spent a couple nights in the hospital. I have tonsils out when I was young. But other than that, was never in the hospital for anything. So to go from kind of a good record of not being in the hospital to making records about being in the hospital, it's kind of like that's where we're at. So you never know, you wake up at night or you get up at night. If you've got a temperature, you're supposed to call your oncology. And so, we do that a couple times a month when I do get temperatures out of nowhere, because that could mean you have an infection or something going on. Because essentially, with just getting the stem cell transplant, I'm basically an infant. My system that fights everything, that battles it, my immune system is basically an infant system just learning. So I've had to go through getting all my vaccinations all over again, even my childhood vaccinations. I've had chicken pox. I've had shingles. I've been diagnosed with RSV, which is a respiratory disease that mostly children get in infants. And so I've got it now at 50 years of age, and so just your body just goes through all these things. So it's definitely a journey. Definitely a journey.
Right. And that's funny because everything is a journey, right? It's like always going from one step to the next, to the next, to the next. And it's funny. Well, now you can say you're a kid again.
Yeah. A kid and half girl, I guess. I'm not sure. So
don't take that on. People are cruel. People are cruel. And
I've got big shoulders. People don't bug me anymore.
That's funny. And so for those of you that are just tuning in, we are in the 11th hour of the 12-hour fundraiser for LLS. And if you feel led to donate, we'd be more than happy that you did. We are definitely looking for more donors. We're trying to raise $40,000 tonight by 8:00. And if you could just click on the link and donate. No donation is too big or too small. Or, like I said, if you wanted to make your checkout to LLS and mail it to Tim Sohn at 120 Care Lane, Shinola, Pennsylvania, 18458. I'm going to have that memorized by the end of tonight.
Sure you will.
And, Chuck, somebody had said in the comments that they loved your positive energy. And, that is so true. When you're going through something as traumatic as cancer, to have that positive outlook is key. And definitely, you definitely have that. And I've said right from day one when my dad was diagnosed with cancer that how your attitude is going to help your outcome. So if you think you're going to die, you're going to die. And if you have the positive attitude, then you will go on. And I so love that you have that positive attitude. And Steve says, I walk with you, Chuck, in dealing with the effects of the treatment for so many years later.
Yeah.
And it's ironic because as I was driving home and then I came home for a quick minute before I hopped onto here, a friend of mine that I went to high school with has had leukemia, and she had leukemia, and then it was the lymphoma is what she had as well. She ended up having one and then got the other right after. And so today, as of today, I believe she's 5 years cancer free. Awesome. So she went to her oncologist today and got that. So I just am so excited when I hear these stories of people that are able to come on the other side of it. And when Tim had asked me to be there for him, it's like there's days like when we're doing this that I get into my moments of grief, and we're gonna have that. And I'm like, he goes, how are you today? And I'm like, do you really want me to tell you the truth? And he says, yes. I said, well, I am so happy for all you survivors. I truly am. I said, but for those of us that have lost somebody, it's hard. And but I am just so thankful that the people are getting the treatments that they need, and people like you are, surviving and just enriching other people's lives. And that's what we're here for,
Yeah, it's attitude when you're sick, not just cancer. I mean, attitude with anything in life, whether it be a bad time at work or family situation or whatever. Attitude is everything. And I'm not going to lie. I mean, I've had days where I've just been down in the dumps and it's like, why me, poor me, the whole Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh method, right. And but one thing I can honestly say, and of course, whenever I go see my oncologist, one of the questions is, do you feel depressed? I don't think I've ever really felt depressed about being sick. I felt sad about being sick, and that's a little different, I think. I think if we're depressed, we tend to dwell on things and just let that thing kind of become the overshadowing mushroom cloud of everything. And, I can't get out of it, blah, blah, blah. But for me, I live by myself, and it would be real easy to get depressed. But not coming home to somebody, but it's amazing. It's amazing how we, in our own minds, decide to attack life and decide what attitude. That's the big thing. I don't know if you can tell in my office here, I'm a Star Wars nut, and everything behind me is Star Wars. Everything around me is Star Wars. But this thing up here was in the hospital with me, and it's basically Yoda's quote, one of my favorite quotes. And it says, do or do not, there is no try.
I love that.
Yeah, do or do, we can either choose to do something or not do it. There's no in between. And, for me, I chose to be as positive as I can about this, because my attitude not only affects me, it affects other people around me, whether it's my friends or people I'm working with or talking to, or, and one of my big things I talk about online a lot is it just doesn't take any energy just to be kind to somebody, and if we could all just learn that instead of being critical of everything or critical of each other and just be kind, what a different place we would be in, different spot in life. So that's kind of like my attitude. It's, that's what I deal with every day.
And that's wonderful, you know, and the attitude is totally where it's at. And I just have to say, Chuck, we thank you so much for sharing your story. You know, we so appreciate you. And um, up next, we have, oh, she was there. And now she's gone. Oh, man.
Well, I will
Sorry.
say this while we're figuring that out. I always love new friends on Facebook, so people are more than welcome to hop on Facebook and find me, Chuck D. Aiken, and just check me out. Well, you know, I've got people all over the world on there, and it's always cool to have new friends.
Absolutely. And, you know, it's funny. I may not comment on everything that you've posted. Like, I became friends with Chuck as soon as I knew about Chuck and knew that he was going to be on here. And I may not comment on everything, but the amount of stuff that Chuck puts out is like you, and I knew that you had just had some kind of surgery, so I'm like, oh man, I hope this guy's okay.
Yeah. 2 weeks
uh,
ago, I had, like I said, they had found a mass into my lymph nodes up into my sinuses.
right.
So that all had to be removed, and knock on wood, there's no cancer there. So that's good. They found cancer in my lymph nodes before, so I was a little concerned about that. But yeah, that's gone. So
Well, we're glad that you're here. Again, this is the 11th hour of the 12-hour fundraiser for LLS. So if you could please donate today, we would greatly appreciate it. We need all the help we can get. Here is the link to donate. And Chuck, I'm just going to put you in the green room, and then I'll
okay.
have you come out right at the very end just to say goodbye. So I'm just bringing on our next guest. And here she is, Miss Stephanie Gold. We're so happy to have you.
Hi, how are you?
Great. I am so
Got on.
sorry that my computer went crazy and that you were having
Okay.
problems getting on.
It's okay. I'm on my phone now because my Apple computer did not like this, but I do on my phone, so I'm here now.
Oh, perfect. Well, we just want to welcome you to the show. And when Tim said, you know, you have to connect with Stephanie, and I talked for you a little bit, I'm like, this woman is powerful, and I'm so glad that you're able to share your son's journey. So, if you want to tell us a little bit about your son.
Okay, so my son was 3.5 years old, and he wasn't the normal boy, so he wasn't like the rumble tumble kind of kid. He was very smart, very chill, learned to read early, was scared to cross the street kind of kid. And he came home from preschool with bruises on his leg and told me he was tired. I called the doctors. The doctor's like, oh, he's a kid preschool. Next week, I called the doctors. I'm like, his nose is bleeding. They're like, oh, we'll change it from Claritin to Zyrtec. And then the next day, he's like, I'm too tired to walk up the stairs. I took his fever. He had a fever. It was 103. And I called them. They're like, all right, bring him in, have him pee in a cup. Never once did they say, let's take a blood test. Let's get his, his CBC panel. Nothing. So I finally got a second opinion. Like, I guess a couple weeks later, I was like really concerned, and I put all these things together, and I'm like, this just doesn't add up. This doesn't make sense. My son's tired. He has bruises, nose bleeding. Started to see little red spots on his body. Finally got a second opinion. They sent me to get his blood work right away. Called me on Monday morning and said, get him to CHOP before noon. His ANC is 0. His hemoglobin is 2. I don't know. He was so low. Everything was so bad. I had a 9-month-old at the time. So I was like, oh my God, are you sure it's not mono? It's not mono. We directly got to CHOP. They gave him blood transfusions, and they told us it was severe leukemia. And I didn't understand that. So they're like, well, he has an 83% survival. And they're like, don't worry, he has the good kind. But to me, what does that mean? You're a mom of 2. I owned a store at the time. Now I'm in, obviously, the pharmaceutical industry because I want to give back to any patient that I possibly could. But my son got there, we've gone through the ringer with blood obviously blood platelet transfusion, blood transfusion. He was on a list of 10 different chemos. He had to take pills. I mean, it was a 3.5-year long journey. And I heard some stories there that I would never want this to happen to my worst enemy, but thank my son's a survivor, and it's 10 years survivor. And he's a straight A student. He's on the golf team, president of his class. He's still a teenager, and doesn't listen, but he is a survivor.
Do they listen at all? Seriously, at any age? I'm just throwing that out there.
No, I'm having trouble understanding why. If you tell them something 4 times, by the 5th, it's like, all right, I'll do it. But obviously through that moment of 3.5 years, I wished it was my cancer, not his. Mm-hmm. And I would put food in front of him and say, please just pick one meal, just eat something. He was so tiny, and because of this, he had to take growth hormone shots to be as tall. He's now 5'6", but he's a sophomore and he's 111 pounds. So like all his friends are 6 feet playing basketball, big guys, and it takes him a little bit more to grow, and he's different. And to be honest with you, that makes him who he is. He doesn't remember a thing. So obviously I'll help him write the essay for college, but he's a hero and a superstar. And
10 years cancer free as of now, right?
As of right now, yeah.
Oh, that is awesome. I am so happy that he was able to get to where he is now. I mean, that's amazing. And that's the whole point of why we're here today, guys, because we're here to raise money for LLS to help these families to, when they're in the thick of it, they don't have to worry about financial crises. And,
yes.
And that's where LLS comes in. And that's the support that they give, the clinical trials, everything like that. And you heard it from Chuck, who was on first. I mean, LLS helped him. And it's not just an organization that's he's going to take and put 90% to administrative costs. That's not what the LLS does. So if you could click on the donate button today, or mail a check and make it out to LLS and send it to Tim Sohn at 120 Cara Lane, Shinola, Pennsylvania, 18458. Oh, sorry.
You want to repeat that last zip code?
Yeah, it's
I talked over you.
Yeah, it's make it the checkout to LLS and mail it to Tim Sohn at 120 Cara Lane, Shinola, Pennsylvania, 18458.
So anything really helps, because I've been in a situation where we were in the hospital for 30 days. I had to pay a babysitter for watching my daughter. I had to pay for gas. I had to, pay a lot of food, and then costs for the hospital. I still had to pay those costs. Insurance didn't cover it all. And obviously the chemotherapy and therapy and then everything after that. So definitely helps it. I mean, I am in the field of clinical trials right now because my son had one. But I didn't know what it was, if he got the placebo or not, but he's a survivor. So to me, if I can help one patient, like they helped my son, I would love to keep helping.
Exactly. Mark Lee says, kids were born not to listen. His nephew did not listen. And my nephews do not believe in listening and didn't listen at all that well. So whether they have cancer or not, they just don't listen. Trust me, my 10-year-old doesn't listen either. Great as a caregiver. You're a superstar, Stephanie. And definitely.
You.
And I can't imagine what it would be like to hear those words, especially with your 3-year-old son saying, he's got cancer. What was heard those
did
words?
You ever feel like you got hit by a truck? Because that's how it felt.
Yeah, I can just imagine.
And the craziest part about it is a couple weeks before that, we were at CHOP for my daughter. When she was 9 months old, she had issues with her stomach. So we were seeing a GI doctor. My mom and I held our hands so tight when we saw a woman walk by us with a child with no hair. And my mom looked at me and she said, "You have to be so lucky every day and count your blessings." Honestly, like a month later, Austin was diagnosed. And I was like, what is happening here? Like, how is this?
Oh, and we lost connection, folks, but that is okay. Maybe she'll come back. I know her internet was a little bit choppy. I'm going to bring Chuck back. And, oh, here's Stephanie. I'm going to bring both. Oops, hold on. I'll bring both of you. This is what live TV is all about, people. I brought Chuck to the stage too, so you can meet Chuck. Chuck is a cancer survivor as well. He was sharing his story. I'm not sure if you were able to listen to a little bit about him, but the camaraderie when you're going through this, I think helps too. You know, just having somebody that you know that's on your side.
Right. So
Yeah,
anyway,
absolutely.
life is short. Don't take a day for granted. That's all I was saying.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you so much, you know, for coming on here and being brave enough to share your story. You know, like I can't imagine having a 3-year-old, my 3-year-old being diagnosed with cancer. And I can't imagine what that is like at all. You know, and have you had a great support system, Stephanie, through all of this?
Thank God I did. I had friends and family. They brought food over once a week and they just switched every week that he had to get the chemotherapy. It took like 8 hours during the day sometimes. So my friends would bring over food. My parents would help. It takes the life out of you, and you want to go and scream by yourself sometimes or cry by yourself because you're like, I can't believe this is happening to me. But I felt so selfish feeling that way because it was going on with him. But in all reality, it was everyone connected to it was feeling it. And it's how strong you are. Cause I would always walk around with a smile and people would be like, are you okay? And then they would always say something like, well, God didn't give you more than you can handle. And I don't say that to me because it's, you know, obviously I'm looking up to God, like save my son, but it's how strong you could be for your child.
Yeah.
So
and that's it. Like you still have to take care of them while they're going through this, but in the same time, you want to break down and just like leave me the hell alone type thing, right? I know there were moments when I was going with my dad's cancer. It's just like I just wanted to be by myself, and you know, I was grateful for the support that we got, but you know, I'm just thankful that you guys were able as well to get the support that you needed. And that's why we're here, folks. You know, we're on the 11th hour, almost the 12th hour. We've got an hour and 8 minutes to go. So if you could support us in donating to the link here, or make a check out to LLS and send it to Tim Sohn at 120 Cara Lane in Shanoila, Pennsylvania, 18458. And thank you both for being so brave to share your story, to come on here, be part of this amazing event, and to bring hope. Because through everything today, I hear the message of hope, right? And and that's what it's all about. And having people around you that that care and that are there for you. Yeah, exactly.
A lot of positive.
And
all right, well,
and staying positive, like we had said with Chuck, it's definitely part of the battle. You know, half the battle is being won by staying positive, even though there's some days you just need to go cry.
Yep. You have to stay positive.
Exactly. Well, thank you both for being here. And we're is there anything last thing that either one of you would like to say to our guests?
Well, just thank you for yeah, absolutely. Donating, get those wallets out. I mean, how many people have Starbucks every day? What's that, like $8 or $10 a coffee? You know, I don't drink coffee, but I mean,
anything could help. Anything could help. It's getting gas in the car from here to the hospital for someone's chemo. It's getting dinner for someone who can't afford it. It's helping those families out in the Ronald McDonald House. It's just being kind and generous and knowing that it didn't happen to you, but it could, and hopefully it won't, but it happened to other people, and just help them.
I love that. It reminds me of when my dad was going through dialysis, and you know, I've been traveling back and forth. It was an hour each way, and I ran out of my savings.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was, and I was cleaning houses back then just to make ends meet. And this lady gave me a parking ticket, her parking ticket, and said, "Here, there's still time on it." And I sat there and I bawled in my car and said, "Thank you so much. Like, you have no idea. Perfect stranger. I have no idea who she is. I don't even remember what she looks like." But I just was so thankful that a stranger would come up to me and do that for me. So could you be that stranger today? Could you be that stranger that says, "I am going to help these people, and I am going to donate whatever amount that you want to donate." If no big, too small, no big, nothing is too big or nothing is too small. We just ask that if you could click on the link right now, donate today, or, you know, send your check into over to Tim and get that today, because like you just heard from two amazing people that have used the services of LLS. They know what it's like to be there, you know, running out of money for everything, but you know that you have to get your son, and you know that you yourself have to get to your next treatment. So every little bit helps. So folks, if you could please donate today, that would be greatly appreciated. And I just have to say thank you to everybody that's showing up in the comments. We have some incredible people here. Christine is saying, you know, hi to Carl Sean Watkins. Definitely hi to Andrea Sanchez. She was the hour before us. You know, these incredible people. There was 10 of us that came together to put this event on. So I just want to give a shout out to our team. Definitely a team of incredible people that are here today helping us, and definitely incredible guests. We've had musicians, we've had comedians, you name it. They've been here helping us every hour that we've been here. And so we just want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And if you can, please donate today.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I know I said any last words, but we've got 2 minutes. Does anybody have anything in 2 minutes?
I think the big thing is just to remember, no matter how tough it may seem, we just got to keep on keeping on, you know, keep trudging forward.
Agree.
And what I love about both of your stories is you both had a great support system. So, and that's what we all are to each other in this community. And, you know, as we were going through it, I always, when I went and I was in the chemo rooms and I was in the radiation rooms, I felt like I was part of I call us cancer families.
Yeah.
You know, and so we're all in this together. And that's what's so great about this, that we're all coming together for the common goal. And so I just really appreciate you guys being here today, sharing your story, helping us get the monies that LLS needs for more cancer survivors. And God bless you both. And, you know, definitely stay in touch. I definitely want to hear how everybody is, and you know, and kudos to your son. And I can't wait to hear the story of when he gets married, you know.
I'll let you know.
Or, you know, that first girlfriend.
Oh God, all of the above. Just let's get to college first, and then I'll let you know everything else after that.
Exactly. Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you for having me on the show.
Well, thank you.
Bye.
So next up, the 12th hour is definitely going to be with Tim Sohn. So hop on over to Tim Sohn while he brings home the 12th hour of this amazing fundraiser. We can't wait to see you over there. God bless you all, and have a great night, folks.